Hey, sports fans, Jimmy Wright here from the Elias Sports Bureau. And today I am sitting down with none other than Randy Robles, a senior statistician with the Elias Sports Bureau. Randy is the resident golf expert, and in a busy month with a lot going on with the MLB season in full swing, NBA playoffs underway, we've decided to talk some golf with you today. PGA Championship starts next Thursday. So me and Randy are going to sit down. He's going to give us a little peek behind the scenes of Elias and their role with the PGA and tell us how he's the best golfer at the company. Randy, how you doing?
Hey, good to be here with you, Jimmy.
So Randy, my first question, a lot of sports fans know the Elias Sports Bureau, probably hear our name watching an MLB broadcast, maybe an NBA playoff game, but you have taken the reins on the golf section of the company. And so how did Elias get involved with golf? And how long has that relationship been going on?
Yeah, people don't really associate Elias with golf, but the fact of the matter is we've been involved with golf now for almost 20 years. We started keeping data or started storing data in the early 2000s. We had worked with the PGA Tour directly for many years. And then in more recent times, we have forged a relationship with the PGA of America, becoming the official statistician of the PGA Championship. And we also work with the Ryder Cup and Ryder Cup USA and Ryder Cup Europe.
Okay. So like I said, PGA Championship kicks off on Thursday. What's your day-to-day role? Thursday, the tournament starts. What are you doing that day?
So what I'm going to be doing specifically is I will be in front of my computer starting at when the players tee off early Thursday morning. And I will be reporting back to the PGA of America. They have a media website. And as the official statistician of the PGA of America, we are going to be populating their media site with data. So the first wave of golfers will tee off on Thursday morning. We'll come up with a bunch of storylines and contextual statistics based on what's going on. They'll populate that media site with our stuff. And then again in the afternoon, there's an afternoon wave of golfers. And then again, we'll huddle up. We'll look at all the storylines. We'll come up with some cool stats and facts and figures based on historical context and such. And then report back to the PGA of America, and they'll distribute that information to all their media throughout the entire world. In addition, we also work closely with ESPN. They have the rights to the PGA Championship, so we will be on like a Slack channel throughout the day. Again, it's a long day; it's a long 4 days, but we'll be answering questions in real time as things occur. So something weird happens, like a guy makes a triple bogey on the first hole and then makes an eagle on the second hole. ESPN, who is airing the content, may want to know immediately, hey, how rare is that in a PGA Championship? So we're here to really read and react to everything that's going on, pretty much wall-to-wall coverage from Thursday morning through Sunday night.
Wow. Long 4 days. So Randy, I am not a golf guy. I don't play. I don't watch a ton. We're just a month away from the Masters, right? That's the big one. Even I know that one. Even I paid attention to that one. But maybe fans don't know so much about the PGA Championship. What makes this tournament so special?
So PGA Championship is one of the four majors. So immediately you're going to have the best players in the world. Top 100 players in the world are going to play in it. But what makes this PGA Championship so special is they're always played on really interesting golf courses, like historic, great, tough tests of golf. This year they're playing at Southern Hills. But if you look at in recent years, TPC Harding Park, last year was at Kiowa Island, another classic golf course. 3 years ago it was at Bethpage Park, Bethpage Black in New York. So they really come up with really excellent tests of golf. And also look at the champions from the PGA Championship are really the who's who of golf. It really promotes the best players in the world. If you look at the last 15 years, Rory's won twice. Brooke Koepka's won twice. You have Phil winning twice. You have Justin Thomas, guys like that Jason Day, another player. So it's really the best players in the world playing on the best courses in the world, all coming together for 4 days of just a great championship.
So you mentioned Southern Hills Country Club, Oklahoma. Obviously, I've never heard of it. What stands out to you about that course? What do I need to know as an amateur golf fan?
Sure. So this is a historic and classic golf course. This will be the 5th time that the PGA Championship will be played on this golf course. That's now there hasn't been more than 3 played on any other golf course. So that's how special this is, and this is how much they really value this golf course in Oklahoma. In addition to this will be the 5th PGA Championship, there has also been 2 U.S. Opens there. So you're looking at this will be now 8 majors played at this course. So obviously in very high regard. What really strikes me as a defining feature of this golf course is the last hole is the hardest hole. The 18th hole is historically the toughest hole on the golf course. So you're going to see some carnage there towards the end, and look out for that.
Carnage. You know what? That's a word to get a non-golf fan involved in this one. A little carnage on the 18th hole.
Yeah. One more thing about this golf course as well. It's not like, there are some courses nowadays, maybe some non-championship courses, where you have these guys that can hit the ball 10 miles and they take over the golf course and they just overpower a golf course. This isn't one of those golf courses. In fact, if you look at the last time they had a PGA Championship here, it was in 2007, and Tiger won. And the only 2 guys played the par 4s under par. That was Tiger Woods and Woody Austin. And guess what? Those guys finished 1st and 2nd. So it's the guys that play the par 4s the best, not the guys that play the par 5s the best. So you'll see something very similar to in 2019. They played at Bethpage Black. It's a very similar golf course to that. So you'll see similar scoring. I think the average score over the 7 previous championships, previous 7 majors at Southern Hills, has been an average winning score of -4. So you're not going to see a lot of high, crazy, -20 scores. You're going to see most of the scores will be over par, and a few will be under par. So again, that word carnage, you're going to see a lot of carnage this week.
That's interesting because people like me, I always think you want to hit big off the tee, right? A big drive. I would think that's the toughest thing to do, but it's interesting to your point that that's not the best. I know Bryson DeChambeau is a huge hitter, but you're telling me maybe not the most, the best skill set for this course.
Yes. I mean, if you looked at the last time they had this tournament here in 2007, of the top 11 guys, 5 or 6 were over 36 years old. Okay. So it's not the young guns that are coming out here and just blasting the golf course, blasting their driver all over the golf course. It's guys that are very skilled at getting up and down for pars, for handling the par 4s, and relying on scoring, not on the par 5s, but on the par 4s and 3s. So you'll see that level of skill come out next week.
Another question I had, you mentioned the support that Elias gives to PGA, to ESPN, and with all the different tee times, it's a full 4 days of golf. And I'm wondering how streaming has changed how coverage is done on a tournament like this, and also how does it affect how you do your job?
Yeah, so streaming has really opened up to the audience, to the consumer, the entire tournament. It used to be you used to follow, just the leaders and of course Tiger Woods or whatever, a few marquee guys. But now you'll see, like on ESPN Plus, they'll have all a variety of groups going out. So you're looking at, instead of like following maybe 1 or 2 or 5 guys, you have to really cover now 40, 50 guys. Even if a player, a marquee player, is playing with a lesser guy, like say for example, Tiger is playing with like a Tom Hoagie or a Luke List. You have to be prepared for one of those guys to do something on the air, and you have to report on that. So you're not just looking at a handful of guys. This really opens up to having to report on the entire tournament. And I think that's really good for the viewer. It makes my job a little tougher because now we're always we have our eyes open, not just on what's going on the main TV, but on all the other subsidiary streaming channels. So, it makes my job a little harder, but it's also a lot of fun. It's a lot more stats to mine and to report on. So, it's overall a very positive thing, I think, have all the streaming.
We know you can handle it, Randy. No worries.
Thanks, Tim.
So, Randy, one thing I'm curious about is give us a little behind the scenes look. A tournament is wrapping up. What are you looking for as a tournament wraps up? How are you sort of creating the storyline out of stats as a tournament is winding down?
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's like being in the pressure cooker. As a tournament's winding down, a lot could happen. Sometimes you don't even know who's going to win a tournament until like the final hole. So, it takes a little bit of guesswork and insight to figure out which direction to go. For example, a couple of years ago at the 2020 PGA Championship at TPC Harding Park, it was the championship was very much still in doubt until Colin Morikawa, he made an eagle on the 16th hole, par 4. It was one of the greatest shots in golf history, really. So that was a huge storyline that, this guy makes an eagle and he's going to win this tournament by a razor thin margin. So we start to look at like, okay, well, how rare is that for a guy to make an eagle that late into a tournament and win? And so we go into our record books and to our files and our data, and we find out that, hey, looks like the last time that happened was 1994. Nick Price, he eagled the 71st hole at the 1994 British Open. Now it's called the Open Championship, to win a razor thin championship back then. So it's kind of looking for what are the most important things. Can you provide context on it? Will the audience really sink their teeth into this data? Is it repeatable? I like to give out information that someone like you, Jimmy, can say, you know what? Hey, I heard that that tournament was so amazing. Yeah, did you hear that Colin Morikawa, he makes an eagle? It's like the first time since 1994 that a guy makes an eagle that late into a tournament and wins a major championship since 1994 or something like that. Also, like Morikawa, we were looking at his final score and we saw that, he could break the record for the lowest final 36 holes at a PGA Championship. And as it turns out, he did that. So we had that information before he even finished and putted out on the last hole. We knew that he was in place to break the final 36 hole record at the PGA Championship. And that was a huge story that went out all over the world. And we had it here first. So it's a lot of making a judgment based on your own sports knowledge, marrying that with your database, and mixing a lot of experience, having done this so many times now for so many years. I've been doing this for 25 years, not just golf but other sports. And being in that pressure cooker, you really learn to focus on what is the most important thing. What does the audience want the most? What is the thing that they will take away the most from this event and can go back to their friends and really take something from it?
I think that's interesting. The stat without context is not something you'd go and tell your friends, right? It's not all that interesting. It's not, there's no context to it. But someone like you who's on site, who knows golf, could tell a story with just that one or two stats that really takes it from a sort of one-off anomaly to an interesting story.
Absolutely. It just adds a level of, people really want to know, how rare is something, what did I just see? Did I just see something that is like really like historic, or is it something that happens all the time? And, part of what we do as a statisticians at Elias Sports Bureau is determine what is important in our minds. What do we think is historic? And in having that experience of doing this every day, day in and day out for so many years, you really get a grasp, not just for golf, but for baseball and hockey and basketball, and football. You get a sense of, okay, that this is rare. This is important. This is something that is that should be focused on after the game.
Yeah, it's interesting that Elias sort of acts as the filter, right? Is it impressive, but also is it rare, and is this something that the audience needs to know?
Yeah, and sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we have to do the research first, and we find out, oh, you know what, that wasn't so rare. So there's a lot of stuff that gets left on the cutting room floor. We present all these fantastic stats and graphics that you see on TV and whatever, but there's a lot of stuff that didn't make the cut. Stuff that this thing happened 2 years ago or 5 years ago. It wasn't, or this guy that did it wasn't really that big a name of a person, so it's not really that sexy of a story. So really finding out the stories and curating those stories and delivering them to our media partners is really part of the job as well.
Yeah, that's 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work, but when you hit that 10th one, I'm sure that's something that, like you said, goes around the world to our media partners, and that's what fans really want to know, is that piece that no one else can provide, that last piece of the puzzle.
Exactly right.
So if I sat down Thursday, I want to watch the PGA Championship. Like you said, you can almost pick who you want to watch. You got any interesting names for an amateur like me to watch? Any golfers that maybe I haven't heard of or I'm not so familiar with that I might want to check in on?
Yeah, I mean, Scotty Scheffler won the Masters. He's won 4 times on tour this year, and he's a young guy. He's 25 years old, and the question is, can he win back-to-back? Has not been done very often. So he won the Masters. This is the second major. And the question a lot of people have is, how many guys have come out and won the first 2 majors of a year? And the answer to it might surprise you, Jimmy. It hasn't happened very often. It last happened in 2015. Jordan Spieth won the first 2 tournaments, the first 2 majors of the year. He won the Masters, and back then the U.S. Open was the second tournament of the year, so he won the first 2. Before that, you got to go back to 2002, and Tiger won the first 2 tournaments of the first 2 majors of the year. But before that, you got to go all the way back to 1972. Jack Nicklaus doing it. Before that, 1960, and then Ben Hogan did it twice in 1950. So you're only looking at really, a handful of guys to do that. So can Scheffler join that elite group? To me, that's a major storyline. He is just seems to be an inflappable person. He's played at this golf course in college and had a lot of success there. He even said on his bio, this is his favorite golf course.
Really?
Yeah. So you got a guy that is really at the pinnacle of the golf world right now, coming off a major win, the Masters, having won 4 times this year. He's the prohibitive favorite to win the tournament, and now he's playing his favorite golf course. So pretty exciting to think that he could make another run and make history.
Yeah, it's interesting that you had mentioned before that this course, it might be for more of a veteran player. Scheffler, a young guy, but that's interesting background that he knows this course probably better than other players, and maybe that gives him the leg up. Coming off a Masters win, his confidence is high.
For sure, and I mean he's not a guy that he hits the ball long for sure, but that's not the most salient part of his game. He is just an amazing grinder. Like, he can get up and down for par from anywhere, and he's just a really clutch putter. And I think those are the qualities that you need, those ingredients to be a major champion. He proved that. He proved that by winning the Masters, and this could just even further his growing legend if he could pull it off again.
Oh, well, Randy's even got me excited to watch golf. Thursday, the PGA Championship kicks off. ESPN's covering it. If you see an interesting stat, odds are it probably came from Randy. Randy, thanks for sitting down and doing this with me.
It's my pleasure, Jimmy. Enjoy.
Great. Thanks.